Hello, everybody, and welcome to a Bright Founders Talk at Temi. Now, Temi is an international software development company that designs, builds, and delivers software for sustainable businesses and promising startups. Welcome to our podcast, where we bring you the most amazing stories of entrepreneurs and experts in the software development industry. And each week, we interview successful leaders who share their unique journeys and valuable insights. As normal, I'm your host, Barry, and today we have another amazing guest joining us, Christian Schulze, co-founder and CEO at Cirkular. Hello, Christian. Welcome to the podcast.
Thanks for having me.
It's our pleasure. Listen, thank you so much for taking time out of your day. We know you're very busy. Now, for those people who don't know you or your company, could you tell us a little bit about yourself and the company that you work at?
Yeah, of course. I'm based out of Germany, in Munich. And what we are trying to build with Circular is basically, we have Amazon and buying things is super simple. However, once you want to sell something, repair something, rent something out, that's incredibly difficult. And Circular is meant to become the reverse Amazon. So selling just becomes one click.
Oh, perfect. Were you always interested in this? Is it like secondhand selling, the traditional like e-commerce thing? Was that always of interest to you, or did you just kind of like happen to jump into this industry?
No, I think I was always interested in solving problems, from younger age and discovering things that are not there yet. Then worked across different companies, building new products, new services, and also moving a lot myself between different cities. And you don't get around selling things, and then you suddenly realize how hard it is, and then you start thinking, couldn't it be easier? And that was the start.
And how about in terms of being an entrepreneur, being like a co-founder or a CEO? Was that something that was in your blood, or again, was it something that just you happened to become?
Yeah, that's a good question. I never really thought about it. I think that I read an article like a couple of years back, and it said like there are like these reluctant leaders, people who just love to work on something and solve the problem. I think it kind of probably fits closer to me. So I like solving problems. I think companies are like the vehicle of solving problems at a larger scale, software as well. So yeah, I'm incredibly happy to build a company with people, but also it's more about solving the problem and making selling simpler.
I love the term reluctant leader. I don't know why, it just appeals to me. Okay, so if we talk a little bit more about Cirkular, so it's actually really interesting because if my understanding is correct, it involves taking pictures of items and an AI is actually there determining what the item is worth. So was that something that you knew you were going to do when you started the company? Like, how did that come about? It's pretty unusual.
Yeah, I think it was a like convergence of many things. So I already shared my experience of moving flats. So that happened in 2021 when I moved back from Berlin to Munich and utterly failed selling my stuff. I always worked on tech problems. I was with BCG Digital Ventures before I moved then back to Munich to be at Accenture, where it was about helping large companies to solve problems with technology. And then ChatGPT came about, and then you could add pictures. And suddenly I realized, oh, it's pretty good getting information from pictures. And I think these two things converged, and the idea of Circular was born.
So without revealing any trade secrets, just kind of high level, how does the AI determine what an item is worth?
Yeah, that's a really good question. So you basically consists of multiple steps. So you start first giving the AI the photo of the item, and it obviously needs to get it right. So not just what is it, but in which condition is it, what configurations. Let's take an example like a phone. iPhone 14, is it like the 64 gigabyte or the whatever 256 kind of version? This all has an influence on the final price. And once it determined basically the ground truth about the item, it pulls from different sources. So you can think of like all the local secondhand stores. We know what they are offering for these type of phones. We have large partners, like I can't reveal anyone, but there are large partners who are specialized and focused on buying phones. Then there are the marketplaces. Then there are your historic sales, and you're basically bringing all of that together in the moment, and you're trying to make a prediction, also factoring in your own costs, and then making an offer to the user.
So, what would you say the biggest technical challenge was in teaching the AI to like recognize an item's value?
You need to find, first of all, what is the right amount of pictures. We started with one image. We realized it maximizes convenience, but the accuracy wasn't like ideal. We now settled at 3 images. There's also some coaching for the user, like back and front, and maybe you share
Yeah.
like some labels or some hallmarks. To go a bit away from the phone example, but you can also share your system setting or whatever. That obviously helps the AI. And what we also learned is that different configurations are good for different categories of products. So it's not like the AI, it's more like a routing system. So you first have to know what type of product it is, and then you basically pull different experts, and that's how you inch closer to a quite good accuracy.
Hmm. How does I suppose the biggest difference will be like the condition of the products, because you can have two iPhones and one could be pretty poor condition and one could be pretty good, and that will massively affect the cost. Is it something that do you get input from the user, like the subjective users, like it's good or very good, or is it all solely down to the AI to determine the condition?
Yeah, so that goes back to the core principle of Circular. I mean, it's all about human AI collaboration. Obviously, the dream is for the AI to be perfect and you don't have to do anything. Maybe we get there in the future. But at the same time, we want to give our users control. So you can always edit the condition or the information. So it's a mixture of both to answer your question. And the AI doesn't look only on visual cues, but it also has some meta information, like, yeah, let's take jewelry or like books. We know certain usage patterns for certain type of categories, and depreciation curves and all of that. So you're making certain meta assumptions. The user can always adjust. We are also we draw conclusions from other things that you are selling on the platform. So if you are selling us a lot of high quality clothes, so more likely your phone is also in a very good condition, and so forth. Yeah.
So obviously, most users of your product are going to be honest, decent people who are looking for an honest trade. But there are always going to be people who are trying to exploit or misrepresent. How do you go about trying to protect like the integrity of the product or the brands that you're offering?
Yeah, it goes to a second, I think, core principle of Circular. It's all about trust. So we don't want to. Also, I personally don't want to live in a world where we, just build on the defense and for what could happen. So, but I mean, it's also a bit idealistic. So how we actually do it is it's invite only. So we
Right.
started with tightly knit community that we trusted, and if they liked it, they could refer it to their friends and so forth. Every user has a circular score, which kind of reflects how accurate your item conditions and information and everything actually are in the app. It influences how many products, the prices, if you can use the platform at all, and also the scores of the people that you invent to the platform. They are actually connected to your score. So if your friend tries to make a good deal by not telling us something, maybe it also influences you. And I think this keeps people quite on track.
Yeah.
We also have some technical things like AI predicting fraud and certain patterns to keep the quality high. And so far, it looks really good, and I think it works.
Perfect. Have you ever had like any surprising cases where someone thought that an item was like extremely low value, but actually your AI predicted it was actually very high value? Or perhaps the opposite way, where the AI was like, sorry, bad news, this isn't the millions that you think it is?
Yeah, I think it goes all the way back to the question of value. What are our things worth? I mean, Circular is also built exactly for the type of people who might not want to get the if you sell it on like a classic feeds, like Craigslist or whatever, or eBay yourself, most likely you will get the highest price. At Circular, it's, I would say, the convenience optimized price. It's still pretty decent. And there are certainly like surprises, but sometimes those are like real surprises. Sometimes it's just based because our AI learns. So it makes also mistakes, and these mistakes are kind of priced in. So sometimes we offer you way too much, and then we sell it lower. But over time, the AI gets better and better and better. And across your portfolio that you are selling, it needs to make sense to us. So it's not that problematic if we sell one item lower. But to find like a concrete case, I mean, we had some pretty interesting items. Like we sold like a stone or a mineral, where maybe some people would think, is this worth something at all? And yeah, it went pretty well. And also some items that we purchased pretty low and then actually got repurchased much higher, where we were surprised, like car parts and stuff.
It's always interesting, I suppose, when you make something and you never can really predict how other people are going to use it. And I suppose it's kind of interesting to see when you create a platform, oh, this is the way people are trying to use it, or have an unexpected outcome. Now, the transaction is probably only part of the challenge. Like, how much do you get involved in the logistics in terms of delivering and that kind of thing?
So you can think of Circular as like a giant routing machine almost. There are different scenarios. So for quite an extent of products, we are actually taking ownership, and we are coming to your home and picking them up, especially in the main cities where we operate. And then we have a central warehouse, where this actually gets then channeled into the maybe to another secondhand store or to a large partner. There's also the other option where we have a direct partner, and it's especially often for phones, that it would go directly from you to our partner. And then we have like a third case of like very bulky items or very risky items like art or collectibles. Here we would ask you to keep the item, and we continue the search. And once we found like a buyer, we would directly match you. And that's how, yeah, like free streams in terms of products.
So you mentioned that in the future you probably like AI to be in control of the whole process, but we're some way off from that yet. In terms of the psychology, in terms of adoption, do you think people are quite comfortable with selling using like? Speaking from personal experience, I don't usually sell. I usually throw away, and shame on
Yeah.
me. I know, shame on me. How do you get people involved in? I think I used to say used, but I don't think that's the right term anymore. I think young people call it like pre-loved or
Yeah.
pre something. Yeah, pre-loved. Yes, pre-loved. I'm showing my age. I'm nearly 50. Forgive me. So in terms of like people getting out there and using these secondhand markets, do you think that uptake is low? Do you think it's going in the right direction? Do you think it's actually very popular? What's your opinion?
Yeah, the main problem is if you look at like the whole society, I think the statistics are roughly the same across the globe. Like 70% maybe of people don't really actively sell because it's not that attractive. It's just too much work. So that's the main problem that we're also trying to fix with Circular. And it's not just about making selling simpler. I think it's also has like a bad rap or like a bad image. And people think about it, oh my God, I have to list and I have to negotiate, I have to take pictures. And with Circular, it's basically you make it more like ordering an Uber. So it's more like a lifestyle product. So this is also how we attract our users and convince them about selling. It's like positioning it as a lifestyle solution, something that you not just use for one item, but for your whole household. And it's more about circular living and, going into a partnership with Circular for life almost. And it resonates.
I don't know if you have the data. Like, is there certain uptake among certain generations? For example, I imagine like young people are probably going to be more because of the technology thing, and also like helping the environment, and also being more frugal, getting some money back from products. Is it mainly for young people? Are you trying to push it to be more inclusive of different generations? And what can you do to do that?
We started focusing especially on the people who are currently not selling. We label them as busy professionals, so people with careers, good products, no time. And that can be someone in the 20s already, or maybe even younger. Can be someone in the 30s or 40s. Can be someone in the city, more rural. So we are not really defining our users by, I would say, like these classical categories, but it's more about that common theme. You have a busy life. You try to be, make a mark, and there are so many things that are hard. And we are a company that wants to help you live a bit lighter and make life a bit easier. And so our users stretch really from very young to more longer on the earth.
So, what kind of products are like the most popular for selling? Have you been surprised? You mentioned some of the oddball ones, but have you been surprised? Like, I imagine like it would be clothes or phones or books, but maybe I'm wrong.
Yeah, I mean, it's a lot of electronics, and then you get like phones, computers, like a lot of monitors actually. It's interesting, or headphones, internet routers. I'm not sure, yeah, why. But coffee machines, if you go more into what's like household appliances, we get a lot, water boilers. Then also books, yeah, jewelry, actually a lot, clothing, from shoes to trouser to shirts and everything. But oftentimes like branded, more like quality products, and maybe what's more exotic, it's like also like sporting gear and some outdoor things like camping equipment. It's also in the mix.
Are there, apart from illegal things, obviously, but are there any limitations on what you're willing to sell? Obviously, within the terms of the law.
Yeah, I mean, we are focused on everything in your home, everything that's allowed. We don't take any food or plants or animals, things like that. Everything that is illegal, you already mentioned it. Where it gets a bit more harder is, yeah, everything bulky. I mean, we do furniture, but it's like in this other model where we would look for a buyer first. Don't do cars or bikes or whatever yet. But we get some car parts, so there's obviously a need.
What does the like ideal resale experience look like to you? Like in an ideal world, how do you want the experience to go?
Yeah, in an ideal world, it's like one click. You take a photo of the thing. Maybe you don't even need to do it because it's already, at the moment when you purchase it, it's already in the platform, and you just go to the platform and decide I don't need it anymore, but it's still good. I want to give it a second life, and that's it. And you get the money and done, and then Circular absorbs all the complexity and everything that needs to happen over time. It shouldn't be just selling, but it should be also maybe repairing something if it's broken, extending the life, and maybe sharing things amongst friends and beyond.
Do you see like I've heard the term re-commerce. I don't know whether you like that word or not, but do you see re-commerce becoming like as mainstream as traditional retail?
I mean, it's around for a very long time, and it hasn't. So selling is still not as common as buying. I think that's the main problem you need to fix. You make the moment you make selling as easy as buying, everyone just does it. Everyone can flip from consumer to producer, at will. That's what we are trying to build. I don't think it's gonna be easy, but yeah, we're definitely trying to make a big contribution towards making re-commerce even even more commonplace, and especially amongst the people who don't actually have to do it because they don't need it financially or they don't have the time.
As a CEO, like, what is the best, or what metrics most matter to you? Like, what does success look like to you in your company?
Yeah, I mean, at a systems level, it's obviously about the number of users and members, as we call them, actually brought to the platform, the number of items that are actually finding a second life through Circular. I mean, obviously, you need to build a business that is also viable eventually. So you also have to look at does this all make sense? Do the prices make sense that you buy it for? But it goes beyond financial impact. So it's more like the maybe the production that you didn't have to produce because Circular was actually refunneling some of it, the waste. There's an element of participation of and income that you create for society. So it's a lot about this. So Circular is not just this financial kind of model that needs to work, but it's good for the planet, for people, and participation, as we say. Then if you look more into the company, it's there are many things. Obviously, people should feel happy and motivated. That's very important. But eventually, it's also about if you want to reduce it, if Circular works, is kind of how many items can be processed in a certain amount of time and find a second life at a given cost. And can be very
Perfect.
idealistic, or it can be very dry.
So it's a lot of metrics are important to you. It's good to see you've got that passion for the product. Now, we are coming towards the end, Christian. I'm so sorry. There was one more question I'd love to ask you, though, just before we do finish. So in your experience, obviously, you've created this company. You've been a co-founder. If someone's watching this now, hopefully not a competitor, but imagine someone else is joining this. What advice would you give them about starting a company for the first time?
Yeah, plan more time, plan more, resilience, more belief than you thought it would be needed when you started. It's obviously worth it, but at least for me, a success doesn't happen overnight. It takes a lot of steps, and sometimes it goes one step back, and then you go 2 steps forward.
Perfect. Great advice. Listen, Christian, thank you so much again for speaking with us today. It's been an absolute pleasure talking with you.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
That was Christian Schulze, co-founder and CEO at Cirkular.